Tennessee Tech head coach Kim Rosamond. Coach, getting ready to enter the 2024-25 season. Your team picked fourth in the preseason poll. Just what are your general thoughts on the upcoming year?
Well, like all of us, we're excited, ready to play someone else other than ourselves or our scout team, and that's coming very, very soon. But we had a little extra time this summer because of our overseas trip to Portugal. That was tremendous for our team, for our program, for the chemistry of our basketball team. I thought it was an opportunity, number one, for our student athletes just to see a different part of the world, but also basketball wise to play two competitive games. And then also just to build chemistry. So I think the connection of our team, the toughness of our team, and also I think we've got a chance to be really good defensively this year, which excites their coach a lot. So there's the leadership of our team is also something that I think is going to be a strong point of our team as well.
If anybody's got questions, let me know and we can in the chat and I'll ask away. Ben, you're up first. Go ahead with whatever you got.
So Kyle kind of alluded to it there a second ago. The poll comes out this morning, and for whatever it's worth, just tell what are some of your thoughts on the poll.
Uh, I honestly, I'd never pay any attention to it. I mean, at this point in time of college athletics where we are, you never know what teams have, what teams don't have. Rosters look so completely different. So, just like last year, I don't know that very many people picked Southern Indiana last year, and then, look at the year that they had. So, I don't put a lot of stock into it. I do think that we've got a lot of teams that return a lot of really good players. Southern Indiana returns just about everyone on their roster. UT Martin returns almost everyone on their roster as far as, their main players. EIU returns one of the best post players, mid-major post players in the country. And then we have four returning starters. And I could go down the list. Western Illinois, hung on to their freshman of the year in Reagan McGowan. So I think there's going to be a lot of parity, and I think it's going to be a really, really competitive race, just like it is every single year in the OVC.
And then you kind of touched on it there for a second, but just go into a little bit more detail about some of the big differences between last year's team and this year's team.
Well, I think one of the areas that we really fell short in was defensively last year. We just really struggled guarding the basketball and keeping the basketball in front. It was by far the most points per game that we had given up during our tenure here. And then, teams just got way too comfortable. That teams averaged 44% from the floor shooting against us, and you can't allow teams to be that comfortable. And if we weren't giving up open looks or open layups, we were fouling and sending teams to the free throw line. So, I think we've got a chance defensively. It's been something that, as a coach, I had to do a better job of coaching it as well and making sure that, we were buying into the defensive end of the floor and not letting whether or not the ball goes through the hole, let that affect how we defend it. And it's been a big, big emphasis, actually, even since the spring. We knew that was an area that we had to improve in. And, what I hope you'll find is that because of those improvements on the defensive end, that you're going to see us finish games better. We had our sixth straight winning season last year, our sixth straight season of double-digit OVC wins. So we finished the season, with there at the end with six straight wins until the last OVC weekend, and then won seven, I think, of our last 10 or 11. So we finished really well last year, and I'm proud of a lot of things that we did, but I think at this point, our expectations are extremely high and they're back at championship level. And so hopefully what you're going to see because of the improvements on the defensive end is us finishing games better. We lost 7 games by one or two possessions last year. And those are games that historically we've been really good at the end of games and winning close games. And last year we just struggled with that. And it just makes it really tough when you struggle getting stops, especially in those tight games. So hopefully it's going to show in the results as well.
Gotcha. I talked to Coach Pelfrey about it. It seems like you guys have had somewhat of a focus on recruiting local talent, and I mean, you add a Gatlinburg Pittman player, a Alcoa player. Just talk about the recruitment of local talent and how you feel about having all those local players.
Yeah, Macon County,
Right, right.
in Keeley Carter, I mean, half of our roster, which it's been like that, obviously when we first got here, there wasn't a whole lot of Tennessee flavor to our roster. Since we have gotten here, we have focused, locally as well as within the state, and half of our roster, is comprised of Tennessee kids. And so we want to make sure, that it doesn't mean you can sign everybody, and that is locally, each year it depends on, what your needs are, what you have coming back, recruiting, just like scheduling is a science. There's a lot of players out there that are good enough to play for you. However, it just depends on what you need during that recruiting cycle. And so, I think obviously with Maddie Newman from Gatlinburg Pittman, Amelia Pfeiffer from Alcoa, in our freshman class, we continue, in that 100-mile radius to really try to keep the best players at home.
And to kind of piggyback off that, just real quick, Reagan Hurst, right down the road, but she's going to, I believe, a redshirt junior or something.
Yes.
She's been with your program for quite a while. Just talk about her role as it's been expanding.
Well, Reagan Hurst is our spark plug. She is, athletically, she is one of the most gifted kids that I've had the opportunity to coach. So obviously when we signed Reagan, that was a huge get for us to be able to keep her at home. She was a multi-sport athlete that could have played Division I softball as well. And, both of her parents played here. So just from that standpoint, it was a huge get to when we signed Reagan. And then what she's done on the court, the last 2 years, and she just continues to get better and better and better. She's gotten so much more consistent from the three. Speed wise, there's not a whole lot of people that can keep her from getting to the rim. And defensively, I think she's got a chance to be one of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the league this year. And her motor is just so high. She plays so hard, and she just affects the game in so many different ways. So I think Reagan Hurst, I'm expecting Reagan Hurst to have a breakthrough year. She's had 2 really good years, but I expect her name to be in the conversation with one of the top players in the league, just like Reagan Grimes as well.
And then I guess my final question, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but what are some of your overall goals and expectations for this season?
Well, obviously you look behind me and you see all the purple banners. And so there is a championship expectation here. But it sounds so much like coach speak, but it's the truth. We just have to focus right now of trying to get better each and every day. This is a long process. It's a long journey. We've got a huge exhibition game coming up on October 29th against Lipscomb. And so we just got to make sure that we are ready to play that exhibition game. Typically, that is not against a D1 opponent. So not only is it against a D1 opponent, but a very good D1 opponent. And so, we've just got to keep taking it day by day, continuing to get better on the defensive end, continuing to get comfortable in our offense. One of the things that I love about this basketball team, like I said earlier, is our leadership. With Peyton Carter and Anna Walker as fifth-year seniors, those kids, they know what it takes to win in this league. They know the expectation at Tennessee Tech. And then you've got Hurst and Grimes that are right there with them that were part of our championship team 2 years ago. So with that core 4, understanding what it takes to win in this league. And then we've added Terrace Thornton, who was at EIU and has had a great career. And we hope that this is her best year yet as she finishes her career at Tennessee Tech. And you throw Keely Carter into the mix. And she was, you know, the 4th leading scorer in Division II last year at Trevecca, along with several other really, really good newcomers, another transfer, Maddie Sirocco, and then our freshman class, I think is really good. You know, we're excited, but I think the biggest thing is just focusing on the process of winning each and every day, and the results will take care of itself.
Coach, where do you think your team's made the biggest improvement since the beginning in your trip to now? And traditionally in your time at Tech, what part of the season does your team make the most improvement? Is it the preseason? Is it in the non-conference? Is it like once you get the conference play, realizing that every team is different? So
yeah, well, I'll answer the first question. You know, I think the connection and the chemistry that this early our team has been able to build is a direct result of Portugal. You know, we were able to have 10 extra practices in the summer, which was huge. You know, that's there's so many positive things to a foreign tour, you know, and that's one of them. But being able to go to another country, a beautiful country, get immersed in a completely different culture and spend 8 days together where it is just our basketball family. And we are able to only focus on each other, only focus on enjoying each other, getting to know each other better. Yes, and we played games, but you know, it is not your typical, you know, where it's so intense when you play those games. You know, I just think our kids were able to really bond and get to know each other. And I think that's showing on the court earlier, you know, than it typically would. And I think probably historically, if you look back, you know, I think any coach is going to tell you, you know, you want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year. But I think over the last, you know, 5 or 6 years, when we've been pretty dang good, you know, you've seen us gradually as this season goes through, once we get into conference, start to find our groove and really play well down the stretch and as we go into tournament time. And we want to definitely continue that pattern this year.
one more, and then we're going to transition to Peyton. Ask Coach Pelfrey this too. What makes Tennessee Tech such a great place to be at, work at, and be a part of?
The people. The people make the place, and the people here, you know, from our administration to the young people that we get to coach, and the type of student athletes that Tennessee Tech attracts because of the academics, because of the community here. This is a true community. We have so much support. There are so many people, you know, it takes a village, it really does. And there are so many people within this community that love on our players, support our players. You know, it's just, it makes it a really special place to be. And I think anytime you can be in, you know, a small college town environment, you know, with a really close-knit community, it's just special. And it's special being able to play in the hoop in front of our fans here at Hooper Eblen Center.
Coach, appreciate your time this morning. Best luck to you and your team this season.
Thank you, guys.